February 4th, 2023, and this video is called Joe Biden Dropped the Balloon. Now, the reason why I say that is I don't think we're going to find this balloon, and I'll probably be proven wrong, but right now I think it's going to be like Bin Laden when we threw him into the ocean, never seen his face. So we don't know actually what really went on over there, and I think it'll be the same thing with the balloon, that they're going to say they shot it down. They're going to say that we retrieved it, but I think it sank. And so the reason why I'm saying that, I'll show you some of this radar that flight tracking picked up. And first of all, 3 Navy ships now, the FBI and these service divers are looking for this wreckage, which, like I said, I don't think we're going to find it. What is baffling to me is they shot it down, right? But they first detected it January 28th when it entered U.S. airspace near the Aleutian Islands. That's in Alaska. That's way up over here. This thing's been in the air for over a week. And this is the route that it took. So they've been tracking this thing. So this is what's so weird about this, that we just kind of really found out about this in the news just recently, because it went all the way across the Pacific, in through Alaska, in through Canada, and it really wasn't in the news until it hit Montana. So I'd like to know, was Biden and Trudeau, were they talking about it when it came through Canada? You know, they're worried about it not shooting it down earlier enough because they're afraid it would fall on somebody. But I mean, there's nothing up in here in Canada. They could have did this a long time ago. So then this is the trajectory of it coming through the heartland of the United States. They just let it float through the United States, didn't take it out until it hit the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this is what got me thinking at the beginning when I seen this flight tracker. I said, this looks pretty suspicious. It's a helicopter that's flying around in circles. Now, I was able to screen save this, but as I was looking at it, once this did this trip and went and landed at the South Carolina or Myrtle Beach airport, this all disappeared. But I was able to find it off another site. Now, we'll go right to here then. After this one went in, this one showed up. And I believe that this one is the one that was scouring the shoreline for the balloon that came down. Now, what's strange is I think these are military because the numbers are blocked. There's no identification markers on these. There was a number on one of them, which would have been this one. This is that C6565. This is the FAA first blocked the airspace off. Actually, over here, you don't see other planes in the air. Now, what's interesting is afterwards, I looked at the ship trackers, and this one seemed to be out right in that same area. So I'm wondering, this is the military, that Navy ship that came in looking for it. Maybe they did spot it, and they were looking for it, but I think it was too late for the time, because the timing was the sunset was coming right about the same time that they finally ended that helicopter trip. And this is there's the when the airlines, the FAA opened the airspace up again, because all those errors, the planes are up in the air already now. This is the Myrtle Beach International Airport that the helicopter landed at. And then the track disappeared. But I went to another website, and they have actually the flight of this. Now, if you look, it went up into the air, it looks like at 3:16. Now, this is where it took off at Charleston, South Carolina, right over here. There must be an airport here. So this is a helicopter, and this is the altitude. This is when it kind of gets right down in the ocean over here and over here. the flight is over at 5:42. So they spent, this is a lot of time looking around. And I'll show you that the sunset was at 5:49. This is when it gets right down into the ocean. I thought this is maybe where they found it, but if you look, there's like a whole another hour of flying around over here. So I don't think they found it. They're still looking for it. If you look at this pattern, this is like about 2 hours and about 2.5 hours that this helicopter was up in the air looking for the balloon. That's why I don't think they found it. Unless this area right here is where it's right down on the ocean, right here. It slows down and then it goes and hits to shore. Now maybe this is where they pinpointed it. But if you look at the sunset, that's at 5:49 Myrtle Beach. That helicopter went in at 5:42. This is 6:17, and you could see it's setting. But what's interesting is after that one helicopter went in, I think this is a different helicopter. There's no number on this one, I don't think, but it's blocked. And if you look at the pattern, now FAA definitely lifted up that airspace because here's some planes up in the air. But if you look at the pattern here, it looks like the helicopter is doing rounds along the shore, maybe looking for it. If the waves are coming in, maybe they're thinking it's washing up to shore. So I don't know. This is strange. This is the pattern that helicopter's taking, and then once, see, look at this. Here's the it's going alongside the shore. It's doing this, and then it did a bunch of circles here. But interesting over here is once it hits the airport, this tracking just disappeared. So I think Joe Biden dropped the balloon, and this is pretty serious because this is our nemesis. They're literally spying on us, and you're going to wait for them to go through the heartland of America before you shoot it down. And I think the timing, I mean, they were off within just another about 2.5, 3 hours for them to shoot it down and go find it. So my thing is, I think they didn't find it. Hopefully they found it, pulled out of water. But if you see, the balloon blew up, and the payload just fell straight down into the ocean. So I don't think that payload's going to be floating. I think it sank, and they're not going to find it. But I have a feeling they're going to say that they found it, but not show it. This is just total incompetence. It's nullschool.net, and these are the currents of the ocean. And here is Myrtle Beach right here, the coordinates. Check this out. I think if they're going to find it, if they didn't find it right away, it looks like the ocean stream right there is going south. So if they don't pick it up, because look at this, it looks like it's a little whirlpool over here. And if they don't pick it up, although this is pretty far out, I'm thinking, if they do not pick it up sooner than later, look what happens. It's actually pushing it down here, but look at, if it gets sucked up in here into this stream, look at this, it's going to pick it up and shoot it out north then. And then I don't think it'll ever be found, which maybe that might be the purpose of them waiting so long anyways.
In regards to our announcement last night regarding the high-altitude surveillance balloon, I'm not going to have much new information to provide other than to say that the North American Aerospace Defense Command continues to monitor it closely. While we won't get into specifics in regards to the exact location, I can tell you that the balloon continues to move eastward and is currently over the center of the continental United States. Again, we currently assess that the balloon does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground at this time, and will continue to monitor and review options. So the balloon is maneuverable. Clearly, it's violated U.S. airspace, and again, we've communicated that fact to the PRC.
If possible, can you tell us if the balloon, when it entered the U.S. airspace, has it changed its course in any way?
The balloon has changed its course, which is again why we're monitoring it, but that's about as specific as I can get. Thank you. Go to Matt.
So you said at this point the balloon doesn't pose any risks to citizens. How is it that the U.S. can assess that, given that the balloon is at such an altitude, without actually getting eyes on it up close and assessing the equipment that's on board? And secondly, are there any alternatives being considered to shooting it down? Is there any option to take this balloon out of the sky intact to maybe get a better look at that equipment?
Yeah. So again, this is a surveillance balloon, operating at about 60,000 feet. Clearly, we did a very close assessment in terms of what it's doing. And as I mentioned, military commanders have assessed that there is no physical or military threat to people on the ground. And so in that regard, we'll continue to monitor. In terms of way ahead, we will continue to review options, but I'm not going to have anything further to provide on that. So thank you. Ma'am.
Thank you, Pat. You said that this is violating our airspace, so why not take it down?
Yeah, so clearly as we assess options and considering the size of the payload on this, looking at the potential for debris and the impact on civilians on the ground or property damage, again, running through the various factors and looking at in terms of does it pose a potential risk to people while in the air. And right now, as I mentioned, we assess that it does not pose a risk to people on the ground as it currently is traversing the continental United States. And so out of an abundance of caution, cognizant of the potential impact to civilians on the ground from a debris field, right now we're going to continue to monitor and review options.
Mr. President, when and how will you remove the balloon? When and how will you remove the balloon, Mr. President?
Yes, he did. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, it's coming off. I got it on video.